March 15, a loss in the Lion King tournament leads us to what? Where does Ray go? What does he do? What is next for him? The thing that I would do if I were him is I would take up the advice of my teacher. I would take up a potential lesson in working at this being a part of this workshop with Nikaido and with Shimada, and being able to learn from the one that I've lost to, being able to learn from somebody who's similar, not as good, but similar on skill level, like Nikaido, who will absolutely criticize and look through everything that you do and make you observe things in a different light. And I think being just surrounded in an environment of people who actually want to really get better, who are on really good terms in terms of wanting to help others, and not solely bearing the responsibilities of your own improvement onto what you are capable of and can do yourself, but being able to extend that hand, I think, opens the door up so much more. Think about any and every sport and activity almost ever. Training and working alongside and learning from those who are better than you are the best of ways for you to ultimately get better. Those who can see things and observe things on a level that you can't. So why would it be any different here, right? Being able to bounce your ideas and bounce what you're doing and your thought processes off of those of like-minded, or if not even further advanced individuals, is exactly, I think, what one should do. And hopefully this allows for another place of community, another place of belonging that Ray can basically find himself within, outside of just going to the home with the sisters. Now has something else, reestablishes potential love for shogi itself. I think these will be good things. So I'm excited to see how that progresses. Hopefully you are as well. If you like this at all, hit the like and subscribe. You know, that's feel free to stick around for the discussion. Limited comments is a series. Let's get going with Much Comes in Like a Lion episode 15. I like starting most episodes off with an OP. I think it's just better. Let me know what you think. I wonder if that's a popular thing or not. Have an OP early or not. I hope we get the Goto Shimada match this episode. I don't think they're gonna give it to us at all, but I actually am interested enough to watch it. Man. Oh, this is before. There's no way she climbed all the way up them levels.
京子はひびの入ったグラスみたいな女の子だった。いくら水を注いでも決して満たされることはなく、いつも飢えた獣みたいに寂しさに蝕まれていた。そしてそのグラスにひびを入れたのは他の誰でもなく、父親と僕だった。
By direct relation, but not through fault of your own.
ダメだよ、あの人は。奥さんがいるんだよ。
ずっと入院してるわ。あの人ずっと一人ぼっちなのよ。
父さんが許さないよ。
許さないのはこっちも同じよ。忘れないわ。たった中二で娘に人生の落語者のレッテルを貼り付けたのよ。
Turned to a son that wasn't even his own, right?
人生もあるさなんて、心にもないこと言って。
それは本当だよ。将棋だけが全てじゃないよ。
嘘つくんじゃないわよ。
From you too.
あんたも父さんも将棋しか頭の中にないくせに、もうたくさんなの。二人して私のこと負け犬でも見るような目で見て、腫れ物に触るみたいに扱って、私いつまでこんな惨めな気持ちでいればいいの？
僕が出ていくよ。僕ならどこへ行っても心配する人はいないから。でも姉さんは違う。父さんが姉さんのことを大事じゃないわけがないじゃないか。
Be viewed through a different lens.
獅子王戦挑戦者決定トーナメント決勝戦3番勝負の初戦。今頃特別対局室であの二人が静かに向かい合っている。僕は島田さんと対局してる時、不思議な感覚に襲われた。音もなく静かに締め付けられてゆくような 彼は後藤に対してどんな勝負に出るのだろうか。3月分の欠席届を。
ああ、桐山、見てみろ、すげえぞ。
You're watching them back.
開始2時間でこれだよ。重厚が売りの2人がどう出るかと思ったらガチンコの殴り合いときたもんだ。行ってくれば。
え、どこへ？
将棋会館。
でも
タイトル戦じゃないから更新不定期なんだ、このブログ。直接行ってみた方が勉強になるんじゃないか。
でも出席日数が。
Bro, the teacher's telling you.
いいから行け。
Screw the asses, somebody will cover.
足りてるよね。ひふみ、ギリギリセーフだよね。俺ひょっとして教師失格？あ、刺した。4三金左？嘘だろ。こんな島田さん見たことねえよ。え、ここで角捨てんのかよ。俺だってこんな兄じゃ見たことないよ。
なんだ、どこが、何が違うんだ。一手一手にどうしてこんなに引き込まれる。そうだ、これは自分を信頼している人間同士の戦いなのだ。終局は9時。153手で島田八段の投了。獅子王戦決勝トーナメント3番勝負の初戦はまず後藤九段の白星で幕が上がった。
レイ、
姉さ
んよ、これはストーカーがお揃いで。
I was more thrown off by him calling her sis.
俺に当たる気満々だったけどさ。どうだった？島田強かったろ。永久舐めてんじゃねえぞ。
Don't underestimate those that you can't even get close to.
ねえ、本当に出ていくの？
離れたくなかった。
ねえ、待って。逃げるんだ、私から。
でももう一緒にはいられなかった。自分の足で立てるようにならなければ。大事な人たちを守れないと思ったから。
一手損角換わりで先手を取ろうとしたら、あんやろ即応戦してきやがった危機として。やっぱ強えや、あのさん。声し顔。強え上にさらに大人げもねえ。でも次は絶対に負けない。
I like that. I like that. I like the look.
娘っ子の前でそんな短歌切っといて、本命の前で撃沈だろ。そんなお前男子としてそれやな。俺だったら腹切るね。俺なら肩眉剃り落として山にこぼるね。
かっこ悪いことかな。気にすること全然ないのに。頑張るって口に出して本当に頑張ったんだと思う、レイちゃんなら。それでダメだったとしても誰も笑わないのに。
The idea that sometimes, yeah.
失敗したってことは挑戦したってことだからな。何にもやんねえで他人のこと笑っている人生よりずっとまともだ。
よっぽど勝ちたい相手だったんでしょうね。レイ君があんな風に闘争心を見せたことって一度もなかったもの。
Not necessarily the guy he wanted to beat either, though.
駄菓子パンとラーメンばっか食べてるんだろうな。
Yeah.
どうしたらいいんだろう、こういう時。
Back on his
ほっと
bullshit.
くしかあるめえよ。仕事で書いた恥は仕事で取り返すほかねえからな。坊主が自分で取り返したって思えるまで自分で頑張るしかないだろう。なに、そのうち大人になりゃ嫌でも気づくさ。どんなやつでも一線でやっている人間で恥をかいたことのないやつなんていねえってことにな。
Always bumps on the road. So with this epic showdown outside.
島田、お前さ、
なんか最近俺より年上に見えね
どこ見てんすか。そっちこそその胸板維持するの大変そうっすよね。
What the?
ひっそりとジム通いですか。大変っすね、ナルシストは。
I like that he gives it back to him, though.
と
Round
行き
2.
ますか。
That's so fun. There's been some fun imagery this episode. The shots of Hina being pulled out and colored different. The swirling trees.
かっこいい。永久か。永久になれば自然に醸し出されるのか。
You just get aura to go up.
風格が。俺今 B1 だけど永久になったらいきなり香るのか。
香んじゃねえ。きっと醸されるんじゃねえ。
変わんないんじゃないかな、君たち。
Yeah, so that tells me it's not the rating.
さあ、出席日数の計算結果が出ましたよ。はい、もう風邪をひくことも盲腸になることもできないことが
Oh my god. I guess we're not going to watch it.
ことが決まっているからそれは仕方ないとして万が一どれかトーナメントで1個でも勝ち進んじゃうと崖っぷちです。はあ、
So you gotta be bad.
学年末のテストはなるべく平均点超え目指してね。それとテストの範囲なんだけど、友達に聞けって言うと友達探してる間に試験終わっちゃうから、先生代わりに全部の先生に聞いといてあげる。
Aw,
はい、しっかりね。
that's nice.
辛いぞ、2回ダブりは同級生におっさんって呼ばれちゃうかもなんだぞ。その
The big 30 in high school. It's gonna be a rough rest of the school year. When do they end though? They end in usually what? February or March, right? So he's probably only got a couple months left. Like, oh, we have more watchers this time. Thunderous.
しかも、ああ、よりによって両者入玉だよ。もうやめようよ。大人げないよ。雷鳴ってるよ。コマが光ってるどころの騒ぎじゃねえ。
3 more. My god. 12-hour days. We all tied up.
勝ったぜ。
Let's go. Let's go.
アンジさん、お見事でした。
First about to pass. I can see why he's aging.
たった一曲で。
桐山から返信がなくて。
そっか。勝ち割りすぎちゃったかな、あん時。
Instead as you were asked.
なんでそんな桐山によくしてやろうとするんだ。
桐山こそが僕の頭をかち割って泥の中から出してくれたと思うからです。
Woke you up.
小さい頃から病院で過ごすことが多かった自分には盤上で強くなることだけが心を支えるすべてでした。横目で見ながら将棋だけに没頭を続けて、
And he's so similar to him.
なのに強くなればなるほど
Couldn't pass up.
弱い対戦相手がすべて努力を放棄した卑怯者に思えて悔しくて腹が立ってイライラして
Do the exact same thing with you and him versus him and Yamada. Or Shimada. Yamada.
僕は桐山に出会って頭をかち割られて救われたんです。ああ、俺より強いやつがいる。
Mm-hmm.
俺より努力した人間がいる。俺は一人ぼっちじゃないんだって。
ちょっと待ってよ。
Cool. Cool with her being around when he wins. When he loses, he's all set.
何よ、後藤のバカ。もう知らないんだからね。
Oh, you're not.
お前こと確か最大
誰それジンジャン、しかも若。
なんでしょうね、喧嘩かな。
さあもう絶対次も勝つ。サボ早速帰って次の対策練りまくる。
There you go. Keep your eyes on the prize, brother.
ごめん、すでに2日足りてなかった。
Ah,
いえ先生、なんか本当にもうすみません。
what happens now? What do you even do with that? So there's nothing we can do. He's just repeating. March 15, we close out with 2 legs of this near final match, semi-final match, I guess, of the Lion King tournament to progress with a win for Shimada as well as a win for Goto. In classic fashion, I think I talked about this in the previous episode with the idea that this is how you typically write these things for, you know, more tension to be built up. So in expected fashion, I guess, for us to push us to the limits a little bit more and then open the door a little bit to explore a fractured relationship really between Kyoko and every character within the series we've shown her to be introduced to thus far. But firstly, I do want to just talk about that the matches themselves. I'm very happy that we were able to see them and get them from the perspective that we did. I was saying, I think in previous episodes, how I didn't think we were going to get to see it at all. So I'm happy that we did get to it because it is something that I wanted to see. But I am even more thrilled about the idea and the way that we do get to witness it, because it doesn't feel like I'm sitting there watching the match like I was with all the other characters, and we're watching it through like their own lens of like watching it on the screen, or as each piece moves, giving like kind of commentary almost through them, or reactions based on it through them, which I think amplifies how much more intrigued I am into what's happening, because you're providing me with the characters that I already have more of, you know, a care for in their own reactions to it, as opposed to just making me watch like 15 minutes of basically silence of us watching a match, you know? So I think it works so much stronger in this way because of how invested you can almost get into the characters themselves and their own discovery and feelings towards certain moves and things occurring within it. And to watch people who are at the top of their game, and when we know that they've already beaten all of those around us that we're watching end up sitting here and actually like having to witness it. So I think that stuff is good, and I like the way that we've done that. I like how we've split it 1-1 and how we're going to venture into this third match. I don't know. I was trying to think of, does it matter who wins? Does that make the story from REI's perspective shift in any way? Like where he's going and what his journey is going to be? Because on one hand, you have him lose, right? One hand, we can have Goto lose, and then we can have REI be potentially thrilled about the idea that the guy that he lost to also beat Goto, so then he's more reachable than potentially he thought, which might inspire a new level of like hope and like determination into him to actually get back into this and learn, and also want to take up and learn from the guy who actually ended up beating Goto, which would involve us going into this workshop and potentially being able to learn directly under somebody like Shimada. But on the other hand, if we do have somebody like Goto who's been being built to be this antagonist, basically, lose at this early stage of the game, what does that do for his own threat and our own feelings towards him as somebody that we would have to go against as an opponent at some point in the future, or even just an individual? I don't know. I don't know if I have the answer to that, because I'm trying to think. I think it diminishes how, I guess, concerned I am in a match against him if he were to lose going forward with us having REI. But it still does leave that level, because he gave somebody like Shimada a run for his money, which he ended up needing, you know, multiple games to, because Shimada beat him in a game anyways. And if he beats him in 2 at this point, it makes me feel like, you know, we're still building him to be strong enough that we should feel a type of way. But I don't know. I feel like it almost takes away from him a little bit from what I want him to be. But I think that one victory that somebody like Shimada can get over him could be enough to persuade where we view Rei at in terms of like wanting to go up and challenge him and actually learning from a person who actually was capable of knocking a game. So, in honesty, I have no idea what the smarter and stronger direction for us to take this will be, but I'm interested enough to actually witness and watch that occur. On the other end, we have Kyoko and her relationship in terms when it comes to Rei, somebody even like Goto, as well as her father, how all of that is shaping us to understand her and the relationships that she has with them and why she acts the way she does. I want to go through the episode as we talk about each of those scenes. I think it'll be a little easier for me to get the dialogue as well as remember and actually straighten out my own thought process a little bit more. So the way that we initially have her come in here with saying, you know, don't touch me, but also don't move away, stuck in this middle section of not wanting somebody to go too far either way, wanting to be connected to a person and feel like she's needed and gain that warmth that she likes, but she also doesn't want them to be too close to her, but also doesn't want them to be detached from her or push her away. So she's stuck in this weird broken state of like not knowing what's okay, what's too much, which direction to go, not wanting to pull away either, not wanting to cause any issues either, or let them even put her in a position that does that breaks that trust and breaks that relationship as well. So she's stuck, which we end up getting to even see and understand through Rei as well, with she has these cracks within her. She's this shattered person that's looking to be filled with something, but is in fear also that when she does get to that point, that she's going to be incapable of doing so, or that she's going to consistently crave more. And it's going to be this never ending desire to satisfy her, which won't ever realistically be found because she hasn't patched up the holes in those things that have occurred to her before. She hasn't found the reason to, you know, get through and get past the scars and things that she has from her childhood, likely through the direct issue that she has with her father. So we're not in a spot where no matter what he does or can do here, she's going to be capable of doing so. That's where I think my theory from episodes ago of her literally just looking for a replaceable figure for her father, she finds in someone like Goto, someone who has this large age gap in comparison to her that she's latched so strongly onto, who has openly taken up her requests at times to like kind of move or be closer to him. He's very push-pull with her as well, but she is as a person to begin with. So it's a weird combination that they're forming here. But he does, like I said, that thing that her father was before, her own attachment to Shogi coming directly through him and his own fascination with it. So I'm going to find somebody who's also this older like figure that I can look up to in that sort of light, who I can, you know, be attached to at the hip in a sort of way that I really want to. And at the same time is also at the top of his game when it comes to something like Shogi also. So now she's in this spot where she can take up this relationship and utilize that as a replacement for what she felt like she was missing in the place that almost she feels like she should be at in terms of where she was with her own father. And I would even push it as far as believing her own dismissal towards his wife being hospitalized and not there makes her potentially even feel better or good, which is awful as it is to say, because she has had somebody else walk into her life and trample on what her family and that relationship is. That's how she views it to be with Rei. To be clear, I don't, but that's how she kind of views this here. Why is it so wrong if she wants to step in and do it? Let me take advantage of and do what these others have done before to me. The wrongs that have occurred to me, I have the right to do to others, which is almost what that feels like to me, where she can just step in and take over this position that somebody else was once in, the way that she feels Rei did in terms of a relationship, and Shogi being that connection between the father and him. That's kind of, I think, the direction that I'm feeling like they go. Because he even says here, the one who put the cracks into her, no more than my adoptive father and me, which is completely wrong, I would like to just say. I get it from why he's saying that, but that's just not how that works. You can't put self-blame due to the fact on actions that others have committed. People do, and Ray is definitely doing so here. But I don't like that. I don't want to personally. I'm not personally that type of person. I don't want to be that type of person. I don't like when people unfortunately put themselves in that type of person and feel guilt for things that they didn't do. Him stepping into a family that he was welcomed into, although not through or by her, trying to do basically what I believe she's trying to do right now and fill this void in his own life, wasn't exactly his fault. Like, he didn't do what did he do wrong? He just kind of followed the patterns. The things that she feels like she lost in terms of the dad ripping away Shogi and that dream from her, placing so much more priority onto Ray and his career and trying to live almost through that and reach new heights through him potentially too. She feels like she was just dismissed and not loved and not wanted in any way, which we even get to see right here. Look at this big ass smile on his face when he's telling her that she doesn't need to, and Shogi's not the only thing in life, and that she can find other things, which Ray literally says too. She's like, "No, you're a liar. That's not true," because that's the base and the foundation of where this relationship and this bond has actually come from and been established through. So to her, that's all she knows. To her, that's all that is. To her, the fact that somebody else came in afterwards and was able to overtake that position, utilizing the exact same things that your the foundation of the relationship was built upon, makes you feel like that's the only way. That's why I think the general idea of her finding that attachment in Goto and somebody else within this sort of industry makes plenty of sense to me. Look at her patting her on the head, trying to wipe the tears away as he has a smile on his face when he's telling her, seemingly trying to release this weight off of her shoulders of feeling like our relationship is solely based on your own performance here, the way that you do in Shogi and my own fascination with it, when in reality, you're my daughter. That's an okay thing. That's not, it doesn't matter whether or not you're good or not at this, which Ray tries to even add on to it later. Like, I'll leave because he cares more about you. Like, he cares for you, which is absolutely true. And I think in this moment, he believes he's doing the right thing. He believes he's helping her because it's opening and freeing her to find and explore new things that she can take up an interest and a fascination in life. What it unfortunately did is make her lose confidence, make her be humiliated, make at least her feel this sort of way. This is it wasn't intended. And I don't think he harshly did anything in a way that, I mean, from the outside, you could technically realize like this might make her feel a type of way, but still, I think he believed he was doing the correct thing here. And even I don't think he's doing the wrong thing in the situation. I think the way that it gets handled going further with potentially the gifts and things that those did not want on Christmas that we went over, right? The offering something like a shogi board to Ray and all these pieces, like offering that to him as opposed to one of them, are the buildup of, and I don't know the timeline. I don't know if that happened before or after this conversation or kind of where and when things came about. But I think that is the buildup of like where they're at and she's at within this relationship of he literally is putting more interest and care into him and giving him and providing him with the things that we, as in me and the brother, or her and the brother, wanted. So due to the fact that he's had a reputation almost of doing so, he's taking up an interest and been so inclusive of adding somebody like Ray to the family, and how much care and attention he's provided to him makes her feel like this is straight up just a, you're not as good as him. I care more for him. I'm going to put all my focus and attention on you, and this is my way of letting you down. I think that's where she's essentially going to be coming from with all of this, which is forcibly, like we said before, making her feel humiliated, making her feel like she wasn't wanted or been included within this family. And that's why we seek out another member who could let those things happen, because that's where we end up finding somebody like Goto, right? Look like I'm a loser. You tiptoe around me. How do I feel this pathetic? Wonder what kind of match this would be. We get some really fun imagery with him being within this forest, and this rotation shot from above looks really cool too. From below, I guess. the relationship with the teacher is pretty cool, of him trying his hardest to be able to understand and help Ray. I mean, he seems to already have an interest in shogi itself, but taking up this interest and just through discussion and everything with him, how much we know that he's helped him, seeks him out and finds him during lunch and actually speaks to him and tries to work through these issues with him. He's a good dude. Dismisses him, lets him actually go and explore this. I mean, we even get to a point later it seeks out all the teachers and creates like this huge workbook of things that he needs to focus up on and do as ways to be able to prepare him for exams so that he doesn't have to run into any issues where he can't miss any more days. I think like all of that's so nice. They're above and beyond that don't need to be done. And it just shows his general care for Ray, the unique position that he's in and what he's actively trying to do. I like them all being here and going crazy over each of the moves. And especially that we don't have the same exact pairings. Like we have a new group, basically, the second match. So it opens us up a little bit more into becoming familiarized and understanding how much all the other characters find this to be so important, which also proves their own desires towards wanting to get better. Move draws me in. How thunderous they all feel with the effects of what we get when they put them down. Goto ends up winning match number 1. Him calling her sis was interesting to me, because I don't know if we've actually seen him do so. It isn't my 2-stock. He was really good, right? Don't underestimate someone in Class A. As he stands here, she runs through, forms that attachment. Like he says, I was in a hurry, stand on my own feet and be able to become an adult. I wanted to be able to do something that could protect you and the people that I care about. He's coming from this weird state of not wanting to, like, no hatred or anything directly involved when it comes to her. It's actually care, and he's trying to be delicate with her in the situation, in understanding that she is this mess of a person who is absolutely cracked and doesn't know what to do when it comes to somebody like her. And he's trying his hardest to kind of, like, as she said before, they tiptoe around her. It feels like he does that when it comes to her too. He's trying to be so delicate with her in the situation that he doesn't push back too much on her. She kind of just lets her know when things are bad, but then she lashes out and ends up walking all over him and then utilizing and manipulating that too. It just causes bad scenes for him of just trying to find a way of protection, trying to make sure that everything's good and be as careful as he can with her and push her onto a potential right path. And it's a lot of strength and difficulty even too from somebody who can't figure any of that stuff out on his own, to then be able to actually be actively aware of it within somebody else's scenario. It's hard. It's what happens though. We talk about it all the time on this channel with especially our romance shows and relationships in general, where a lot of the time the characters within them might be in toxic situations or might be doing things that are just stupid or just might not even recognize somebody else's own feelings for them because they're stuck in this situation. When you remove yourself and you're on the outside and you can actively observe the moving pieces within it and hear about it and pick up on things, it becomes so much more clear. And it's like, how do you not recognize that, but somebody on the outside does? It's just what happens, you know? You're not as clouded with all these other reasons and if and ands and buts and whatever else due to what's actually occurring. You don't have those barriers and those concerns that you're going to ruin things or things are going to go wrong if you misread something or if you try something different, because you're not actively doing that yourself either. So you're in a situation, especially right here on the outside, where you can look at and be like, these are two people I'm close to in terms of Kyoko and the father. This is where their relationship stems from. I've heard it from basically each side, witnessed and seen a lot of these things too. I can understand where they're both kind of coming from. And he can see that when it comes to somebody like Kyoko, of like, she's a mess and I need to handle this in a certain sort of way. When he's similar in a lot of ways too, of his own feelings and things that he almost views, I think, her, like the lens that he views her through, if he could actually see himself in the same sort of way, would be able to find some more self-improvement there too that he struggles on. It's the the ability for him to put self-blame too on so much, which he already has in a bunch of different situations, and even in this one of putting himself for blame for stepping into this family like it wasn't his fault. I like the conversation with him and the Kaido, just his own thrill to be like, I'm motivated enough to want to get back in there, as opposed to getting destroyed like somebody like Ray did, which is a good mindset that hopefully he can take him up under his wing and learn a little bit from him. The different perspectives we get everyone. I like this shot of Hina that we get too, but especially the grandpa coming in and just essentially letting him know, like, it's better to be able to look back that you tried and you gave your all and you did things, as opposed to sit there and be too embarrassed and ashamed of your own self to feel as though that humiliation is too much to overcome, and then get stuck in your own ways or unwilling to kind of progress and move forward. Being able to recognize the fact that there's ups and downs, and every single person along the way has had a failure at some point, some to higher and more extensive extremes than others. It's an okay thing. And the moment that he can understand that and starts to get to that point, it will move forward. And I'm hoping that that's soon. Recently, you're looking older than me. I like the back and forth between them. I think it's great. It adds a little bit more characterization here to Shimada that we weren't too familiar with him as a person, that I think elevates him and gets me excited to see more and root for him even so. These images are great, though. Absolutely awesome. Funny conversation between them, thinking that they're going to gain the aura of an individual just because they end up hitting A, which is not the case at all. Wants to watch it. We calculate the days. He unfortunately was extremely off, but funny that he tried to help. Really nice, at least, that he tried to help. The heavyweights going back at it. They're on haymakers until ultimately this time, hours upon hours later, Shimada comes out on top. We learn a little bit about Nikaido and his own background too, which I think is really nice too. I like that we're able to see that he wants somebody to do what Ray did to him, basically. There's his own fascination with him, the idolization almost of an individual because of what they once were. How many times have you seen that or experienced that, where somebody, especially when you were younger and close to your age range, was like almost a god in comparison to you at your own sport or something that you were doing? You strive to become better and get better. You take them up almost as a rival, as one-sided as that potentially can become, which is how we begin our introduction with Nikaido in the series, right? Claiming to be so, and Ray's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's how we end up opening up. So it makes perfect sense that we can now explore that a bit more and expand even upon his own illness and everything that we went through early into the series, developing the fact that being alone, taking up an interest and finding an escape in something that makes it reflects fully what Ray's situation has been too. Ray, Nikaido going against a bunch of these younger kids who aren't taking this as serious or caring as much as him, but in Ray's situation, going against a bunch of these old guys who are on their way out and viewing like, you're not trying, and I can tell and I can understand when you didn't put in the effort or the work and do as much nearly as me. He found finally his match, which is what Ray ends up finding here too, when he ends up going against Shimada and thinking like, oh shit, I'm not even on that level to be able to get to the next guy that I was so worried about. Similar sort of place here with Kaido, where he's like, holy fuck, I found this person that I can look at and be like, you are him. I need to do something to be able to overcome you. And he's been chasing that for years upon years. That person opened his mind and expanded it so much more into, as he says, there's somebody better than me. There's someone who worked harder than me. I'm not alone anymore, which I think is great. And it makes, hopefully, Ray capable of understanding that a bit more as we move forward, too. Of there's those who are putting in the effort and the work, and we even get introduced to Shimada through the teacher being like, yeah, he's been grinding for years and he's been just working, and through straight perseverance and determination, he's found his way to Class A. That's the exact kind of person that you should look at and be like, holy shit, he's able to overcome the odds. Goto is completely dismissive here of Kyoko, which it weirdly just feels like when we're on top, and I'm going to tolerate you being around me. But when I'm losing, I want nothing to do with you at all. But I don't really know. Their relationship, I'm still trying to understand and figure out. On to the next match. Let's go. And a miscalculation, unfortunately. So we learn quite a bit about our characters, or open that up a bit more to things that have been introduced at an earlier point within the series, and I think that's great, and I'm excited for that to progress. We have a match still yet to come between our two heavy hitters, as well as hopefully Ray being able to figure out what the hell he's about to do at school. Because I don't know if this means that he's going to have to stay back, or he's going to have to do like the, I don't know what they do in Japan. So I don't know if they have to repeat years, or if they do summer courses, or if they do like makeups and things that they're capable of doing, or if you take on extra activities such as doing like night classes and stuff as well. Like, I don't know what their protocol is for you being able to continuously progress. If there's even anything for him to do due to the fact that it's absences and not necessarily like grades. I don't know. So we'll wait that out and see though. You're the whole dude. You've done so much. Can we pay him off? Okay. This is at the school? That dude got a whole beard. Or a whole stash.
野口、何作ってんだ？
石鹸です。バザーで売って部品の足しにしようかと。
え、石鹸で作れるんだ。
作れるさ。ほら。
We just did. Look. Yeah.
これが我が部の春の新作。よもぎチョコバナナです。
Yeah, I don't think. Oh.
野口これ売れないんじゃね？
しっけえな。よもぎの先成分とチョコとバナナという女子の好感度アップに必要なものが3つも入っているんですぞ。
That's what we're doing. All right. No. Hold on, does it smell good though? No. Yeah, they found the sun. All right. We now know where to direct it towards. The spring. Perfect. Don't. Music to your ears. Welcome to the team. What can we do for you? Welcome.
ちょっとレポート用に実験見せてやってくんないかな。いや、この子訳ありで働きながら学校通ってるんだけど出席日数足りなくて今。
So sad, so heartbreaking.
手貸してやってくんないかな。
After all, look what he just did for you. He is one of you now.
君勤労青年なのだな。よし、科学のことなら我ら放課後喜んで手をお貸ししよう。
ありがとう野口。やっぱお前いいやつ
I'm glad.
けど先生。
先生こそそのものいい改めぬ限り出世は望めませんぞ。
いい人たちでしたね、放課部の皆さん。
Good dudes out there.
もうお前いっそ入部しちゃえば。
I don't even know what I was doing.
さっきお前が他の生徒と笑って喋ってんの見て、クララが立ったな気持ちになった。
ここまではわかるかね？
なるほど。一人ではどうにもならんことでもさ、誰かと一緒に頑張ればクリアできる問題って結構あるんだ。
Especially someone who knows more than you. Open your eyes to that opportunity in Shogi, brother.
こうやって力を借りたら、次は相手が困ってる時、お前が力を貸してやればいい。世界ってそうやって回ってるんだ。あのな、大事なことだぞ。
It's the life lesson.
一人じゃどうにもならなくなったら誰かに頼れ。でないと実は誰もお前にも頼れないんだ。
その時、ハッとあかりさんたちが浮かんだ。僕は遠慮することにばっかり気をつけて、実は彼女たちに頼られたことって一回だって。そうだ、一回だって。
続きは電車の中で考えろ。走れ。
That's a good dude right there. Step on into it, cross the barrier. Packed.
まさか。
That was a big moment. Oh, it's over.
どっちが勝ったんだ。
Find the Kaido. Click, click, click. Who's there?
そうか。島田八段が勝ったんだ。何度も見てきた対局
Excuse me?
直後のこの光景。負けを悟った側は対局中に最後の一言に向けて心を整理してゆくが、勝つ側は最後の一瞬まで読み違えることがないよう張り詰め続ける。
He left it all out there on the board.
ふうに対局直後は勝った方が激しく消耗している場合が多いのだ。
I guess that's fair. I don't know.
声もうまく出せないほどに。
おめでとうございます。アンリじゃ。
It's like the opposite of any and every sport, but I guess that works. You know?
泣くなよ、ボ
You can cry more than me. You didn't even what?
嬉しくて。
Wasn't even you.
よろしいですか、コメント。それでは獅子王
They all recognize it though too, so they don't swarm him instantly and give him time.
意気込めません。
Like I gave it all here. That's all I had in me.
だってそういえばこの後藤よりすげえバカなんですよ。
Just drained life years off my life.
島田八段、ぶっちゃけすぎです。
I respect it.
うちの子供将棋クラブの公式兼ヒーローでもあるんだから、島田さん。
そっか。そうだよな。
期待という言葉に背中を押されるように、島田さんはゆっくりと語り出した。一言一言絞り出すように。僕は
It was everything in his brain to figure it out.
勝ちを取りに行ったことがあるだろうか。
You ever mentally exhausted yourself
そうだ。
that far?
島田さんのいる場所ははるか遠い場所。無傷では決してたどり着けるわけもない世界なのに、負けると悔しいのはなんでだとか言いながら目を背けていた世界。
よう、桐山。
He finally came.
一人両足を踏みしめてゆく人なのだ。その時突然胸の中がぐしゃぐしゃになって喉の奥いっぱいに熱く込み上げてきた。
何か冷たいものを買ってきてくれないか。
はい。
Give him the opportunity.
お茶でいいですか。
うん。
Yeah, anything. Just go.
僕にはまだ引き換えに渡せるものなんて全然ないかもしれないけれど、僕はあなたに
Something you
ど
could
うし
give,
ても
right?
聞きたいことがある。
Yep. You've accomplished what he wanted.
さてと。
島田さん、研究会に入れてください。
Hmm. How dare you laugh along with my friend?
どんな販売だ。
ダメ、おじいちゃん、今には入れないで。
もうすまん。
No, no.
しかもまたこれもなんと綺麗なでかしたぞひな。
さーてと、我が家の今年のひな祭りは何にしましょうか。お稲荷さん。あらあら、おひな祭りといえば。
Mama's a girl who knows what she likes and wants, you know?
お稲荷さん、ひなもお稲荷さん食べたい。そうね
No choice.
じゃあまあいっか。私も食べたいし、中に刻んだサックサクのレンコンと卵のそぼろとごまをたっぷり入れて。レイちゃんにも食べさせてあげたいね。どうしてるのかな。
もうちっとかかるだろうよ。いくらガキでも男なんだ。プライドってもんがある。
All right, all right.
出てやんない。
だからそれがわかんないよ。プライドのためならお腹空いてもいいの。お腹空いたら元気も出ないよ。
You're making a whole lot of
いつまで
sense.
も来ないと知らないからね。
Yeah, see if I care.
かけて口にお稲荷さん詰め込んじゃうんだから。
They getting him one way or another.
千田記録の の坂を降りたとこかな。
よう、よく来たな。電話来るかと思ったよ。わかりづらいからさ、この辺。
Four
今日から島田
pairs.
さんの研究会に参加させてもらうことになった。
Who's here?
会の場所は島田さんの自宅。
Welcome.
遅いぞ桐山。
As expected.
こういった会があることは知っていたけれど、参加するのは初めてで少し緊張した。
紹介するな。
Who's this
重田
guy?
森尾君。俺
Mario.
と同期で奨励会からずーっと一緒。ちょっと無口で目つき悪いけど、別に怒ってるわ。
It's just his resting face.
慣れてくると今度は毒吐くけど、気にしないでいいから。あと将棋以外では1時間に3発言くらいだけど、別にここにいたくないわけじゃ。
Right, don't assume.
よろしくお願いします。
ほーら、重田君、桐山君だよ。知ってるよね。
研究会とは、プロ棋士が研究と実践練習のために月に1回ほど4人ぐらいで集まり行うもので、そして対局が終わったら参加メンバーでその将棋の検討・反省を行う。そうすることによって自分以外の人間の目や手によって同じ盤の上に全く違う道が開けることがある。
先手が二階堂で居飛車、後手が重田君でご機嫌中飛車ね。
まあね、ご機嫌中飛車振り飛車の中では男らしい戦法ではある。うん。まあ強いて言えばね。
それどういうこと二階堂君。
My God.
それを破るために生まれたご機嫌中飛車を
A lot of words.
振り飛車の中では男
I was expecting it to just make some noises.
ほどがあるんじゃないのか。
だいたい角道を止めるっていうのがまず消極的でどうなのって思うんですよ。こう主導権は取りたがらずカウンターを狙うみたいね。
そうですよ。次始めましょう。せっかくみんな集まったんですから。
ありがとう、
Nice to have another voice of reason here.
というか、どっちだっていいじゃないですか、先方なんて。
Oh no.
おい桐山、今なんつった？
Whose side are you on?
浅いな。桐山二階堂、お前らの言う通り37銀としたら6五銀から5六歩でもうダメじゃん。
じゃあ58金右と上がらないで37銀なら2枚銀から K を跳ねていって中央制圧なんじゃないですか？
その通り。今桐山がいいこと言った。
盛り上がってらっしゃるところ大変今日
We are Jeraden, bro.
ちょっといいか
Yeah, maybe it's best if you speak.
大丈夫かな兄者。
どうしたんだろう。急にお腹が痛いなんて。
珍しいな。兄者が具合悪いなんて。
タイトル戦も近いし、なんかやっぱりプレッシャーとかあるのかもな。
だが47銀から36銀絶対譲れん。
しつこいぞ、まだ言うか。
だとしても47銀は間違いじゃない。将棋の形として正しいに決まってる。ここに盤さえあればお前のその浅はかな考えを正してやれるのに。そうだ桐山、これからお前んちでじっくりと話し合おうぜ。
っていうか、あれそういえばもうここ俺んちの前なんですけど。
Haven't been there in weeks.
了解も取らず。
Oh, they set them all up.
だとしてもやっぱり47銀から36銀だ。
っていうか、さっきの鳥浮いてこなくね？
出てきてないよな、さっき潜った鳥。
鳥ってどんだけ潜ってられるの？
息継ぎはね、大丈夫なの？
なんで？
怖え。
まさか魚に食われ。くそ。
How the hell are you gonna know if it came back if we spent so long looking at this?
これじゃね？
バカ、黒かったろさっきの鳥は。それによく読め。翼海長寿92センチから105センチってそんなにでかくなかっただろ。もうくそ、暴く。あいつの正体絶対突き止めてやる。
よーし。
Part 16 closes ourselves out with not too much, but also a lot. It's a weird weird thing that we go between with. The actual thing that changes is we get a winner and we join a club. But there's tons of growth that comes along with what happens there. So it's a fun little thing. So this is another that I want to just go through the moments as they occur rather than formulate something or like a structure of in which I would like to speak instead. So the entire opening sequence is really fun. I like the fact that we like how your high school, whatever. We're not even gonna we're not even gonna question. We're just gonna let that be what it is. But this is great. I like the overall importance to raise passing and success that we've continuously displayed out of the teacher. I talked about it in the last time. I just think it's great his constant reassurance to the routes that he's going or his own ideas as to which way he maybe should start looking and trying to take things up, but his constant being around and being concerned and going out of his way and extending a hand to be able to help out Ray and push him forward to see success is great. It's the type of thing that you almost expect or would assume any teacher should want, a good teacher for certain, that you don't typically find, at least I didn't typically find, and I'm assuming most people probably didn't either, that when you do find that one, it's rare, it's a great feeling, it's awesome to see. They're passionate about what they do, about helping others, about seeing people succeed and putting them in the right position for that success. And I think we definitely get that out of him, which I really like. His willingness to go above and beyond and seek out all the teachers that, and all the reports and the things that he needs to do and get in to be able to help him out so that he doesn't have to do it himself and stress himself over figuring how this works. It was really wonderful. Now, instead of just letting it pass and being like, okay, I'll just let you handle the rest or we can figure this out another time, taking that initiative and pushing forward and being like, okay, we have to go here. We have to find a solution. We have to do this, and really working towards getting that stuff done now, sooner rather than later, not letting Ray kind of suppress that and not think about it so much more and just let it kind of bypass him. So I think it's great that he does put him in these positions constantly and helps him out, which we end up seeing here. It's a fun little gag between them making something that's just awful and then him being able to just randomly be able to make it work. And of course, they welcome into the club instantly, which is great. I don't know how much more, if at all, he's going to ever appear here again and work with them. Regardless, I think it's a great thing and a nice little reminder, especially from the teacher too, of like, you can join this. People are willing to accept you. It's not as difficult and complex as you might think that it can be here, because of how quick things were able to flip itself on its head here. So I think that's wonderful. So we work out a plan and things go over great. And of course, we have to get a reminder from him, which is something that, we've been preaching basically since episode 1, that Ray doesn't really know because of the type of person that he is, that you have to reach out sometimes, can't do everything by yourself. And it's exactly how I've been saying since the beginning. That's exactly what we've been saying since the mention of the workshop. There's times that come up where you can't overcome and figure out everything on your own. There's moments that have already been demonstrated at many points throughout this, especially within those shogi matches, and the focus and mention at multiple points of the importance of the review afterwards, the showcasing the professionalism even from somebody as much of a dick as Goto actually is, being able to sit there and make pointers about what people are doing wrong and ways of improvement. You need to do that. You need to learn from those around you. You need to be able to take that stuff in, be able to brush off the loss and be able to move forward continuously and not be stuck in your own ways there. You need to be able to reach out to those people to ask of things because they were able to overcome them, or they don't have those difficulties themselves, or they have overcome you in a way. And the fact that they're capable of doing so and have openly demonstrated that up to this point might make, maybe it doesn't to you, but to like to Rhea that is, but to me makes a ton of sense that that's like, maybe I should see what's good. Maybe I should be open enough to the idea that I should extend a hand and see if they're willing to help out at all. I know it's hard. I know it's not easy, and especially if you're not in that position. And I'm not trying to make it out to be. It's why I'm not getting mad and why I haven't gotten frustrated through 16 episodes now, the fact that he hasn't been doing so, right? Because it's understandable with how we've displayed him to be. It's who he is. I can understand that. And that's why it's such a big, grand moment when he finally is capable of doing so later. It's so high in emotion, the fact that he is capable of doing so. We don't expect him to, like, we're not in a rush for him to get to that point, but you do know that day needs to come. He's not capable, it seems like a lot of the times, of being able to internalize and figure these sort of things out on his own. It was an argument that I had with myself basically about will he be able to do so after the workshop was initially brought up, right? Shimada was like, he has to be almost saying like he has to be the one who reaches out, or he has to come to us when he is ready. We cannot take that step and move forward. The grandpa's kind of pushed that, especially in this episode too, of like talking about his pride and all these things being in the way. But why are they that important? Why can we not step aside? Why can we not push that to the side and be able to actually be vulnerable for a moment, be willing to accept that we are not who we think that we are, that we are not who we can't get to be who we think we can be without the help of others and without the extension of our hands here. I think that is a difficulty that, of course, so many people go through, but especially Rei here, and being able to have somebody put that right in front of you. You don't know sometimes, and that's even the expressions that we've gotten with Shogi. He has done something and been like, oh, I could have just did this, and then somebody's like, okay, but then you could have just did this, and then it's like, what? I wasn't even thinking that. I didn't even notice that. You're multiple steps ahead of me. You're looking at things from a different way. But the moment somebody tells you, and the moment somebody points that out to you, it's like, damn, it was in front of me the whole time, wasn't it? How many times have you gone through it? Done something like that? I know it's been an unbelievable amount with me, where you think you have something down, or you think that there's no other way for you to do something, and then somebody else is like, but what about this? And then you're like, what the hell? I didn't even know that was an option. I didn't even think about that. He gets that moment finally here. Why don't you think about the idea of working with others, reaching out to them? You can't expect people to do so if you don't reach out to them either, you know? So him being able to finally be like, oh my God, you're right. I've been doing that with the sisters, and this has been happening. They don't reach out or rely on me for anything. And it's like, holy shit, this is just a moment of, it was in front of me this whole time. It's something that I just didn't know. But being able to finally understand that and get told that to somebody allows him to start visualizing this and put all the pieces together and being like, holy shit, it's always been like that. Let me take that idea up. Let me move forward and join this workshop and do this thing. And to a huge moment here, he's able to cross the barrier of those gates that he's in, and he's able to push forward into this. That's great. I like them throwing us for a little loop here of having him be all smiley kind of throughout this and getting all the publicity on him. Not something that you would expect, and I guess it could just be Japanese based. It could be like shogi based. It depends completely, and I think the way that they describe it in a way of, the winner might be mentally exhausted so much that he doesn't want to actually go out of his way and speak to them, or literally physically can't, and the fact that all of those around you kind of like accept and appreciate and are okay with that before they get to you, all of that can make plenty of sense, I guess. Not something that I'm familiar with, at least in any sports and things that I've kind of seen and gone through. You always just go to the winner with general excitement over you worry about them. They're the ones who's going to get all the publicity and all the pictures and the things that you want to take up of. So it doesn't, compute with me to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, if they do show that general respect, and all these reporters and people aren't people who are just trying to get these clicks, and instead respect the sport itself and want to give him his space to be able to actually sit down and be like, okay, I'm good. I'm ready. I can start speaking to, which you even feel when the reporters walk in the room and are like a little timid almost, or a little bit like softer with their tone and being like, oh, can we ask you something? Are you ready? Like just not wanting to bombard him with so many people at once. So it seems like they're all on the same page and understand and appreciate that. But Shimada actually wins. So I think that's a nice way of throwing it for a bit of a twist, because it's not something that I was expecting them to demonstrate like in that sort of way. What it doesn't throw for a twist is I was expecting him to win. We talked about this in the previous one. It made too much sense. Allow the person that Rei is so badly after and wants to defeat to take a step down and be able to lose. If he ends up losing in this situation, the person who he beats becomes all the more candidate of you wanting to be like, I want to fall in line and follow them and listen to him and learn from him and be able to get to that level. Because one, for all you know, you could have gotten Goto in the previous round and been able to win that match and then face Shimano. We know that's not the case. We know that that definitely probably wouldn't have happened. But you lose to the winner, it makes you feel a little better. Two, you're going after, or you're going to learn directly from somebody who has overcome the obstacle that you want to overcome. And it also re-inspires you in a way to know that the person that you didn't think was beatable or wasn't even attainable for you to get to now is that person that is capable of reaching, because this other guy was able to do so. Somebody that you underestimated, somebody that we have learned directly from the teacher and others, has put his head down and worked nonstop over the years to be able to achieve and get to the level that he's at. It's not something that he just naturally has had. He's worked extremely hard and saw a rapid rise as a result of that. These are huge, huge moments and things that are extremely important and relevant into REI and what he's trying to accomplish and doesn't even believe he is capable of himself. To be able to recognize and see somebody who is that and who has done the things that you want, and then also know that there's an opportunity to take up and learn from that person too, makes way too much sense to pass up. So I think this is great, and it also allows somebody like Shimada to end up reaching someone that REI himself idolizes and be able to have a match against him. Is that going to work out? Probably not. He's probably going to get his ass kicked. But knowing that that is in reach and knowing that that person is right there for you and can be a mentor for you as well, I think is great. So I'm pleased. I think this makes all too much sense to to not have been the choice, and I'm very, very proud with that. They all walk in. He's able to speak a little bit, and then we find a little opening with REI coming in to be able to set everything aside and give us the one-on-one here. Because at this moment, he recognizes you have something that I need. Right? There's something that I need, and the only way I can get it is if I extend my arms and I ask. Which is exactly what we end up getting. Both of them at the exact same time, asking the same exact thing. It's perfect. Catching them all off guard, but it's kind of funny at the same time that they are on the same page. And it's a huge moment. It's a big explosion of growth for REI, and something that is absolutely needed, and something that you hope he takes in. Because we can demonstrate it like this, and we can showcase that he was capable of doing so. And that's the first step for him to begin his change and his growth. But if you continue to only put that into this one situation and to not think back on those words and those feelings that you had in this moment, and you don't recognize the fact of what this was capable of bringing you and the position it put you in, you're going to fall back into the same situation that he has been in since the beginning. And we don't want that to happen. So we're going to have to wait and see and make sure that he continuously is reminded by and will follow through with it. And will not just let this be a one-time thing. Because this can be applied to in not just the aspect of Shogi and his own improvement and his own facing Goto at some other point in time, but it can also be applied to many different aspects in terms of the emotions that he struggles to consistently work through on his own, that he has suppressed for so long, his own feelings towards his own family, his adoptive family, his new family that he's even taken in, all of that. Kyoko, the sibling, everybody. This is all important, and things that if he can continue to recognize what's going on and how this made him feel and what opportunity and change this has brought to him and his own mental, it'll be huge going forward. I like this scene a lot too, especially with the grandpa going on about the pride and everything else, and Hina just being like, "Dude, I don't get that. That makes no sense. Can't we just do this? Why does he feel that way? Can't I just go drag him into this? Why can't he just ask? Why can't he just say any of this?" Which is exactly it, right? That's exactly it. We get in our own heads and we think of all these stupid excuses and reasons and ways of blocking ourselves from maneuvering and properly just getting the things that we desire, because we're in our own way and we think that we're someone that we're not, and we think that other people think that we are someone that we're not, and people will react in a type of way instead of just going out of our way. We see how much she wants him to do this and wants him to be involved, right? I like her reasoning too, just being like, or her answer to it being like, "I'm just gonna go shove it down his throat. I don't even care. I'm gonna force it one way or another." And here we go. We enter into the workshop. I like it being at his home. I feel like home environment's a good place and good thing for us to have here. I think being able to put it in a place that feels so welcoming, because it's not like you're bringing it to like this remote sort of location. Instead, we're actually set at his own place. So you have to like welcome him into a little bit of you, a little bit of how you live when nobody's around type of thing. I think that's a good place to be. It shows a little bit of trust, a little bit of vulnerability, and just willingness to be open. And here we go. We meet some people. So we get Shigeta Morio, who is now going to also be somebody who we might become a little bit of friends with, which I think will be good outside of just Nikaido. So we end up playing a bunch of matches. They go over the rules and the way that these things go. And then we spend a bunch of time afterwards debating about why the things that we did are correct and trying to observe if they are or not and make improvement on it. The problem is they're so stuck in their own heads and prideful of the way that they are playing and approaching these that we don't let somebody like Shimada get any words out, which isn't a good thing and we don't need to happen. Rei even takes up and is acting out in a similar sort of light. He finally does get his own thoughts out, and it results in him just not feeling too well. Hopefully it doesn't develop into anything bad, but we'll end up seeing it. And I'm assuming that this, now showing the openness of Nikaido being here, might indicate a little bit more of he's not actual brother, but more so like mentor, which is I think what I was assuming prior. But we'll see where that goes. Here we continue to just be stuck in our own way about how these things are working. And then all of a sudden, the potential topic of discussion falls right underneath the surface. So they spend a bunch of time figuring out how this bird is. It's still there, though, right? Is it still there? We're not observing it. Are those thoughts, those feelings towards your batch and your own opinions, are they still valid? Are they still existing within you? Did you just suppress them because they ended up going underneath the surface and nobody's able to see them? I don't know. Answer that yourself. So that was episode 16. That's going to be all from me. Hopefully we get a lot more in terms of what's going on with this finals match, what's going to end up happening with Rei and his own progression towards being able to extend his hands out to others, as well as what's happening while we're actually at this workshop and being able to learn from those around us to improve him as a player, plus his own school life. So we got a few things on the table that we still got to work on that are immediate, as well as a bunch of the background things in terms of relationships and family dynamics and things with Kyoko and whatever's going on with our Goto revenge. So hopefully we'll get to see some of that unfold this season. If not, there's a second one. I'm sure plenty of that comes to the forefront when that time comes. Thank you very much for joining. Check out the Patreon for early access and timer reactions on the series, as well as others. If you like this at all, hit the like and subscribe and ask me. Feel free to check out the Advocacy channel if it comes with the series. This has been March Comes In Like a Lion, episode 16. I have been Grizz. I will be back for episode 17 next Monday. I hope you guys have a great one, though.